The following two examples are quadratic type equations. What that means is we can think of this equation, x to the fourth minus 3x squared minus 4 equals 0, as something that's going to be similar to a quadratic equation. If we let u equal x squared, then u squared would have to be x squared squared, or x to the fourth. So I can rewrite this equation as u squared minus 3u minus 4 equals 0. And that's a quadratic equation. That's something that we could solve by factoring, or we could use a quadratic formula. I think we can factor this one though, because let's see, 4 times 1 is 4. And if I make it a minus 4 and a plus 1, that will add up to negative 3. Now I can set my factors equal to 0. U minus 4 equals 0. U plus 1 equals 0. So u could equal 4, or u could equal negative 1. But we're not done with the problem. We're actually solving for x, not solving for u. So back to my substitution here, we said u is equal to x squared. So I'm going to replace those u's with x squared. That means x squared could equal 4, or x squared could equal negative 1. And these are equations we can solve. I would solve by taking the square root of both sides. Don't forget the plus or minus. So if x squared equals 4, that means x can equal plus or minus root 4, and square root of 4 is 2. So positive and negative 2 are solutions. X squared equals negative 1. We can take the square root of both sides. Don't forget the plus or minus. Square root of negative 1 is not a real number. So if we're just looking for the real solutions, only 2 and negative 2 are my solutions. Let's take a look at one more example. X to the negative 2 minus x to the negative 1 minus 6 equals 0. So if we let u equal x to the negative 1, then u squared would be x to the negative 1 squared, and we would multiply the exponents, so that's x to the negative 2. So this becomes u squared minus u minus 6 equals 0. This is now a quadratic, and I can solve this by factoring. So let's see, product of 6, it could be 3 and 2. And if I make it a negative 3 and a positive 2, that will add up to negative 1. So u minus 3 could equal 0, or u plus 2 could equal 0. That means u equals 3, or u equals negative 2. Once again, just like in the previous problem, we're not solving for u, we're solving for x. So I'm going to go back to that definition. U was x to the negative 1. So x to the negative 1 could equal 3, or x to the negative 1 could equal negative 2. Now to solve this for x, we have to remember that negative exponents mean reciprocals, or fractions. X to the negative n is the same thing as 1 over x to the n. So x to the negative 1 is 1 over x, and that could equal 3. Okay, so if 1 over x equals 3, I'm going to solve for x. I'm going to multiply both sides by x. That'll get rid of the fraction. So x times 1 over x is 1. 1 equals 3 over 3x. And then divide by 3. So x equals 1/3 is a solution. And then I can do something similar with the other solution. X to the negative 1 is 1 over x. That equals negative 2. I'm going to multiply both sides by x. X times 1 over x is 1. So 1 equals negative 2x. Divide both sides by negative 2. X equals negative 1/2 is the other solution to this equation.